This week, more clean, green fun in the sun with battery robots, solar cars, and electric boats. In an unassuming garage in the Netherlands, there's an electric car with a secret. No, it's not its ultralight, ultra-strong carbon fibre frame, although that is important to the story. And it's not the aerodynamic design that makes it look like a future car from the 1950s, although that is important too. No, look closer at that shiny finish, and you'll see that it's not paint. The entire thing is covered in solar panels. Solar panels on the bonnet, solar panels on the roof, solar panels instead of a back window. Yes, this is a solar-powered car, and they call it Lightyear 1. The first production model will be going on sale this summer. Its 5 square metres of solar panels come in narrow sections that better curve around the body, and also mean that if it's parked partly in the shade, the sections that are in the sun still work at full capacity. But even though the battery can take you 440 miles on a single charge, a day's worth of sunlight will only provide about 45 miles of that. The rest still has to come from plugging it in. However, 45 miles might be enough to get you to work and back.
You can fast charge it using a normal charger, but the solar panel will recharge your commute every day. So basically when you put it outside of your office space, then it recharges itself, and when you get back, the car's full again. And basically that happens every day. In the summer in the Netherlands, you wouldn't have to charge for months if you do just your commute. Really.
I'm from the UK, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. And basically UK and the Netherlands are the worst 1%, right? It will get a lot better when you go to the south of Europe.
Why did you set up a company here then and not in the Sahara?
Because we love the sun, because we see it so less.
Actually, the Netherlands is a European leader in solar power, getting as much as 17% of its energy from the sun. Lex is a bit of a world leader too. In 2012, he co-founded the team that went on to win the Solar Challenge cruiser race across the Australian outback 4 times in a row. Unsurprisingly, the design of Lightyear 1 is somewhat more conventional. Now, solar cells are getting better and better at turning sunlight into electricity, but Lex's company is more focused on making what energy it can harvest go further. The result will be the most energy efficient 5-seater on the market when it launches, with a ruthlessly aerodynamic design weighing about half a Tesla Model S, and which trades the crazy acceleration of that beast for range and efficiency.
So the tendency has been for electric cars to look at high acceleration and large batteries. So because of those two, cars get very heavy, and very heavy cars that accelerate quickly, they need very high power. So we say it's more important to get to a destination quick than it is to be quick at a traffic light. And what's great about air-wheel motors is that they are direct drive. So basically there's no gears at all. There's just 4 moving parts, 4 motors, that's it. So it means that no heat is lost in drive shafts or other gears, etc. So every bit of energy goes directly to the motors and to the wheels. And that makes it more efficient, and therefore on the same amount of solar you get in, you can drive more.
Now, Lightyear 1 isn't the only solar-powered car being developed. This one from German outfit Sono is due to hit the market in 2023. And look, of course it makes sense to get your electricity free of charge from the sun rather than from fossil-fueled power stations. But solar cars also come with new challenges. For a start, you're going to need to keep it clean to maximise charging. And you know those stone chips you get in your windscreen? Well, now much more of the car is covered in glass. Although Lightyear does say that any chips can be filled with resin in the same way as windscreens. It does seem like it's been a long time coming, but looking at this, it is a bit easier to believe that one day your car might be wearing a C of solar cells. But you know what, Laura? It is slightly depressing that even with a highly efficient body, it's those solar panels that need to get more efficient if we're going to run completely on solar in the future.
Yes, maybe for now we need to focus on getting more power into batteries quicker then.
Yeah, that's a nice idea, but it is hard.
Can I show you something that might help?
Uh-huh.
Well, here's a British company hoping it solved the fast charging challenge. The Sailboat cell is the same size and weight as a traditional lithium-ion one, but it can power things better whilst it's doing the job, and crucially, it charges a lot faster. The eventual aim? 3 minutes compared to 3 hours. And here in this lab, batteries are being tested, along with visualisations of their charging speed, heating and the current. The cells are then grouped together and tested in regular devices.
It's possible to charge batteries in 5 minutes. We've had robotic vacuum cleaners charge in 3 minutes. It's possible to charge power tools in 10 minutes or less.
Much of the success here lies in the development of a new material which allows lithium ions to transfer quickly at a safe temperature.
The heating that you get, primarily because your anode and your cathode materials are not able to move lithium ions fast enough, and then the heating causes a whole series of degradation. The electrolyte decomposes, the cathode decomposes, giving off oxygen and causes fires.
But even having addressed this, there are still challenges for the fast charging of the thing that many of us care about the most, our smartphones. Years of miniaturising their components despite their subsequent growing screen sizes has made this more difficult.
These limitations come from the components, so like the wires and the connectors, and usually they're limited to about 5 amps. That's what you have in most of the USB sockets. So USB-C's got to go to its next generation that can allow for faster charging. And the chargers, you've got to have chargers that wouldn't become too big and bulky to carry around too.
Vehicle charging is on the agenda too. When it comes to recharging electric vehicles, there are a lot of variables. This isn't exactly your standard electric car. Right now, to fully power up something like this would take about 3 hours. Now, that's partly because the initial bit of that charging happens quite fast, and then it slows down later on. But these batteries should overcome that problem, making it possible to reach full charge in just 5 to 6 minutes. Driverless taxi pods could spend more time shuttling people rather than sitting charging. The company's also been busy working on this prototype mobile charging device. The idea is it could be used on building sites or maybe to even charge cars. It can move forwards and backwards from side to side. And here you've got 3 detachable batteries. They only take 3 minutes to charge. There are also AC sockets here. And thanks to 2,000 cells inside, it can provide 30 kilowatts of power. That's about the same as a Tesla Powerwall. There are still other issues to be overcome. What happens to the battery at the end of its life? And there are some compromises.
If you don't mind an additional 10% lower runtime or 20% lower runtime, but you're able to get all that energy in 5 minutes, this is something that our technology allows.
Once the lab trials are finished, it'll be time for industrial testing and validation, in the hope that these fast-charging batteries could be speeding up our lives in the next few years.
Hello and welcome to the Week in Tech. It was the week Nintendo announced the much-anticipated Breath of the Wild sequel is delayed until 2023. Elon Musk says he's thinking of building a new social media platform that's open source and supports cryptocurrencies. And TikTok announced a new in-app creation tool called Library with select content from Giphy, the source of many GIFs and animated online stickers. It aims to encourage more creators to access entertainment content and take part in trends. The Pompeii archaeological site is using a spot robot dog to explore the ancient ruins, collect data and assess structural issues. Authorities are also using laser scanning drones to help create 3D models of the site. As part of its move towards net zero, the government in Britain has ordered research to begin on orbital solar farms. Proponents of solar power in this form believe they can provide round-the-clock renewable energy that's wirelessly beamed to Earth and fed into the grid. And finally, Dyson have announced the launch of their new noise-cancelling headphones that come with a built-in air purifier. The company claim the cans can deliver a continuous stream of clean air without touching the wearer's face. You heard it here first.
This is Greenwich Naval College in London with its brand new cycleway, play area, benches and bike park. It's an urban regeneration that didn't need any council approval. In fact, it was only completed about 10 minutes ago. Yeah, it's a visualisation of how things could be, the kind of thing that you see skilled urban designers make, although this is Beta Streets, a tool that can be used by anyone.
Quite often, you know, the visualisation can be done at the end of hundreds of thousands of pounds worth of design work, and the decision makers decide that they don't like it. And therein lies a bit of a problem because a lot of money and time has been spent getting there. We've deliberately kept Beta Streets as a simple, easy to use tool for most people, and not something that you need to work in street design for 2 years to be able to do.
The idea is that anyone, even me, can take a photo of their local area, upload it to Beta Streets, and the software will do a lot of the work for you. This tool analyses the photo to work out the geometry of the image. And that makes adding street furniture, cycle lanes and trees a doddle. Is that a sensible place to put a bike hanger?
Well,
that's a no then. This is chaos. You do not want someone like me having a go at your street. Let's bung a slide here over the curb.
There you go, look.
So what you can do is you can climb up there and then slide down onto the red bit of the road. Have you got flumes?
I haven't got flumes, I'm afraid. Some of them we could add in.
I can see the shadows of the tree are tracing across the bench there. 3D gaming engines like Unity and Unreal Engine take care of the visuals, allowing objects and lighting to be easily manipulated and opening up a previously highly skilled profession to many more people.
They've been around a while, but it's more that people's computers can now handle what we're giving it.
I mean, this is fun.
Yeah.
It's a disaster for me and for everyone that lives down that street. But it's fun, so I can kind of see how people would actually engage with this.
Yeah, it's incredibly easy as well. I mean, that's the first time you've used it. And okay, you've made a bit of a mess, but it looks semi-believable. I mean, whether or not you put those objects there.
And it looks, longest pause in the history of television, believable. The system was recently used by the charity London Cycling Campaign to start a conversation about making London streets greener and more cycle-friendly. Not sure I want to have the conversation with the residents of this street. I think I will leave it to the professionals. And because this tool runs in a browser, it's a fairly easy step to make it run on a tablet or even a phone, which means you can take the photo you need and then just stand on the street corner and do your sketch right there and then. Now, different cities will require different solutions in their quest to become sustainable. So let's go somewhere completely different now. I'm going to hand you over to Captain Lewington.
It's icy out there. Very, very icy. With 3,000 kilometres of coastline and nearly 300,000 islands, Sweden plays host to a variety of sailing vessels. Motorboats use fuel that creates greenhouse gases. They can leak petrol and they can cause noise pollution. So I'm here to take a look at some electric boats that aim to overcome these problems, including one that doesn't cut through the waves but glides above them. Right, I'm following you.
Yes, come.
Under this 25-foot craft is a wing for hydroplaning and sensors that collect hundreds of data points every second.
You'll have to take the passenger seat first.
Okay.
And then we'll let you drive. We need to stabilize it, much like a fighter jet. Then we feel how we're oriented, where we are in the world. And then about 100 times per second, we adjust the fall while twisting it and changing the angle of attack to keep stable.
This is where it gets exciting. Let's go.
Cool.
Wow, I can feel the sensation of the boat lifting up. It does actually feel like we're flying. And without the hull in the water, it's using 80% less power than a boat would conventionally need. Batteries are still no way close to the same energy density as gasoline. But as hydroplaning reduces friction, electric becomes a more viable energy choice. This feels beautiful. Whilst most electric boats eat up more energy the faster they go, this consumes the same at 5 knots that it does at 20. On a full charge, it can hydroplane for 2 hours, covering 50 nautical miles at a sensible 20-knot cruising speed.
And we can have a conversation like this. It's not like a slamming in the waves.
Which is very sociable, and it also feels very smooth like an electric car.
You want to try it?
I'd love to.
Okay, let's do it.
Apparently this is easy, and when I raced a Tesla a little while ago and beat the race car driver, that was way easier than I was expecting, so let's do this. Seatbelts on, everybody!
Seatbelts on.
I took to this like a duck to water. Well, after a few bigger than planned splashes. Okay, that feels faster than you went.
Okay, and now pull it down a little bit.
Okay, pull it down a bit. I'm heading for the big waves. Whoa! Whoa! That was amazing! I barely felt those. A very different experience to our producer's boat.
Thank you for the warning.
It's a leader amongst its electric peers, but I do wonder if prices, starting from around $300,000, might stall adoption. Especially when similar-sized motorboats can still travel several times further and go around 10 knots faster.
Of course, there's going to be petrol-powered boats for quite some time, but I mean, once you try this kind of experience, it's quite easy to imagine everyone driving like this.
And when you're here looking at this beautiful water and the beautiful scenery, it feels good to know that you're not damaging the environment whilst you're out. On land, bigger crafts are underway, with a 40-foot public shuttle set to launch with the City of Stockholm next year.
This is our first electric hydrofalling ferry. This one will be able to carry 30 passengers.
And it's exactly the same technology, just scaled up.
Yeah, exactly. It's the same concept.
But next for me is another Swedish company called X-Shore that's making electric boats better connected.
Hey!
Hello! Nice boat.
Thank you, she's a beauty.
I believe you have something to give me before we get on board.
I have. So you will be able to start the boat with this one.
Garmin's GPS and Vitals tracking smartwatch comes with added nautical functions.
Man overboard on, unlocked. And then if you fall in, then it stops.
Now, this won't be as energy efficient as hydroplaning, but it's still powerful.
In 4 seconds, we will be up well above 30 knots. So everyone needs to hold on.
Is everyone ready?
Yes! Give her everything you got, just full throttle.
Yep, I'm flooring it. It's similar to Candela in cost and top speeds, but can cruise slowly for double the time. As it sails, the vessel collects 150 data points each second. Everything's shared back to HQ to optimise performance, but with private info being beamed straight from my wrist, I was curious about security.
Technically, you can hack Pentagon, right? So you can probably hack our boat if you're that good, but we have the same kind of security layer as any car company.
Just like connected cars share data to improve urban spaces, smart boats could help local authorities improve life at sea.
So this is our R&D lab.
Some of this information, like water quality and water temperature,
You can't do anything about it. So
No,
how
that's
much use
monitoring.
is that data?
For the cities, it's lots of use because they can see if the temperatures sudden rises, where to go swim, where to avoid, if you have coral reef areas. I mean, this is something that our customers would want to monitor actually.
With remote control tools built in, floating sea labs could one day operate themselves. Are you working towards these becoming autonomous?
Yes, we are.
When?
In a few years' time.
A few years.
That was great fun, but it's not just about that. 90% of the world's trade is shipped, and that accounts for 3% of all CO2 emissions. Going electric could be one solution, but another is using sailboats, and one company has been trying to bring that idea into the future.
With world trade growing, it's important that we do something to reduce CO2 emissions by up to 40% by 2030. Here we are using a rigid wing. This is where you get the different ones. That's where you have the most power, I guess. You could see it as an airplane wing that you put up on the ship.
Measuring the flow that is actually clear is really difficult.
This vessel here is 7 meters long, mainly made out of glass fiber. The full-scale ship will be around 200 meters long, roughly around 80 meters in height. And the ambition is that this will sail end of 2025 or early 2026. What makes wind really, really interesting, it's of course free of charge. You know that there will be wind also in the future. Up there you will have very little disturbance. It's been a lot of learnings. We have roughly around 150 sensors measuring up to 200 data points every 10 seconds. Pressure, wind speed, and also the direction of the ship. When you change the angle of attack, I mean, that will be a big difference. How can you optimize the hull? How can you optimize routing? How can you optimize the wing sails and so on? Combining that, then we get up to the 90% CO2 reduction. There are, of course, unexpected things going on. One example, when the wings are flipping over, then it also starts to move backwards. So these are things that we have learned, and then we look into how can we work on that and make sure that you avoid this going forward. When it comes to the full systems over the Atlantic Ocean, you will have very good solid wind more or less all the time. If you get closer to the equator, you will have less wind where you need to put in some other kind of energy. It could be a wind assist where you take it just to reduce the CO2 emissions from the main engine. You also need a backup system in case you have no wind. Taking new steps will be a challenge. The shipping industry has been going on for the last 100 years, basically. What we can show is that if this is a profitable way of going forward, it's also a very environmentally friendly way, that would make it super interesting for all ship owners in the world.
That was Nicholas Dahl finishing off this sustainable journey by road and water on what turns out to be Click's 22nd birthday, would you believe? Now, we're making a few changes behind the scenes here on the programme, so while we get things sorted, we're going to treat you to a few of our favourite episodes from the last few months. Do enjoy those. We'll still be on social media, on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram and Twitter at BBC Click. Thanks for watching, and we'll be back soon.